You're listening to the Bloodshed Baddies.
Hi, I'm Lex,
And I'm Sam.
and we are the Bloodshed Baddies.
Welcome, baddies, to the Baddie Book Club edition.
This is where we take a break from true crime and talk about our monthly book club book. So if you haven't read it yet, pause, go read it, and then come listen. Or expect spoilers.
Spoiler alert. This month we read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is a young adult book.
So here's our little summary of the book. 17-year-old Cassie is a natural at reading people. Piecing together the tiniest details, she can tell you who you are and what you want. But it's not a skill that she's ever taken seriously. That is, until the FBI come knocking. They've begun a classified program that uses exceptional teenagers to crack infamous cold cases, and they need Cassie. What Cassie doesn't realize is there's more at risk than a few unsolved homicides, especially when she's sent to live with a group of teens whose gifts are as unusual as her own. Sarcastic, privileged Michael has a knack for reading emotions, which he uses to get inside Cassie's head and under her skin. Brooding Dean shares Cassie's gift for profiling, but keeps her at an arm's length. Soon it becomes clear that no one in the Naturals program is what they seem, and when a new killer strikes, danger looms closer than Cassie could have ever imagined. Caught in a lethal game of cat and mouse with a killer, the Naturals are going to have to use all of their gifts just to survive.
Woo, 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 woo. So, Lex, what are your thoughts on the book as a whole?
So I thought this book was a really easy read. It was definitely entertaining. I read it in one sitting on an airplane. I loved the crime aspect and the cutesy love stories. The ending was a surprise, which I feel like it can be very hard to do, especially we read a lot of like thrillers and suspense books.
Yes.
The only complaint I have is that the writing style is very simplistic. I know it is YA, but it left me wanting like a little bit more writing style wise.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So, personally, for me, I was in a reading rut. I was reading a book that I literally complained to you about like 12 million times. I just couldn't get into it. I kept trying to finish it. I didn't finish it. But when we chose this book for a book club, or Pacey chose this book for a book club, I picked up the book and I didn't want to put it down. Like you said, it was a very easy read and it kind of got me honestly like back into the reading mode. I know that YA isn't for everyone, but personally, I love a good YA book. I also love how crime and the FBI was intertwined because you don't often see that in YA. I mean, it's obviously unrealistic and whatnot, but it is really, really cute and intriguing. And it also gave me House on the Cerulean Sea vibes. Did it give you those kind of vibes?
Not exactly, but I see where you're going from.
Yeah, just like the different quirky people in it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of
Mhm.
cute.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and House on the Cerulean Seas is one of my all-time fave books. So I loved that. And I also loved the connection between the kiddos. And I, again, like you, did not expect the ending at all. So I thought this was a pretty good book as a whole.
Sam, what was your favorite part of the book?
Ooh, I really liked the dynamic between all of the characters, kind of how I mentioned. I especially liked when Cassie came to the house and met Leah, Sloane, Dean, and Michael, and how she navigated their personalities and found out about them. Personally, I freaking love Sloane. I think she's so cute.
Yes.
I freaking am obsessed with her. All the little facts she spurts out, the coffee that she like drinks and is like addicted to. I also like the relationships not explored, like the friendship between Dean and Leah or Leah. How do you say that name?
I said it as Laya when I was reading it, but that's probably wrong. I notoriously pronounce people's names wrong.
Okay, side tangent. If it is Leah, because when I was reading it, I'm like, it's Leah or Leah. If it is Leah, I think that's flippin' hilarious because she's a liar. She lies good.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice
Yeah.
that.
But anyway, I do want to explore that relationship between Dean and Leah or Leia, and I would love to learn more about it. But this is a series, so hopefully if we continue to read it, we get to learn more about that relationship. But what was your favorite part?
I really, really loved the whole part where they played Truth or Dare. I think it's
Yes.
a really great contrast because they do a lot of dark stuff and their training is like very serious. And it reminded me that like they really are just a bunch of horny, silly teenagers in this house.
Yes, you're so right. Like it gave back the vibe of they are just kids and they are just being silly and having fun. I love it. What was your least favorite part though?
I really, really did not like Cassie's reaction to finding out that Dean's dad was a serial killer. I
Ooh.
thought it was like so dramatic. And honestly, they have not known each other that long. So she had no right to be upset that he did not tell her. Also, I feel like she came in it with zero empathy. Like, your dad was a serial killer. And she's like, you've gone through this trauma and I have to solve crimes now. And all I care about is that you didn't trust me enough.
That's
So
honestly a good point.
it annoyed me so much.
You're like, Cassie, get it together.
Yeah. And honestly, if she would have like reacted a normal way, it would have taken nothing away from the storyline. So,
You are right about that. Like it would have kept the story going. It wouldn't have taken anything away. But my least favorite part, but mainly because it was just super creepy, I hated the lipstick part where Leah or Elia puts her mom's lipstick on Cassie. It was
no.
just so bizarre. And then, like, how did she decide to give her the makeover? Like, I know the agent left the lipstick on her bed, but how did she just, like, in her head, like, oh, I'm going to give her a makeover now? I just thought it was really weird. And I would have still liked the book without that part. I just hated it so much. So we both talked about how we didn't expect the ending. Tell me your thoughts on the ending, girl.
I really enjoyed the surprise ending. I thought for sure it was going to end up being Dean or Michael.
Yep, yep.
And honestly, I was going to be hella disappointed if it was one of them because I was like, oh, it's too obvious.
Girl, me too.
It definitely, this whole book and the ending especially is definitely not believable. But since the story is not as a whole, you have to suspend disbelief to enjoy it. I also enjoyed that it ended up being her aunt and they gave her like a backstory with a real reason for why she did what she did instead of it just like they had some meat in that backstory. It wasn't just
A
thrown
random.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I didn't mind the ending myself. I did, like you said, think it was extreme. I also thought that it was Dean or Michael, and I was like, come the F on. This is unrealistic. This is stupid. But thankfully it wasn't. And they did explain the quickness of the escalation of the officer because it did escalate super quickly. So I was happy that they did explain like why Officer Locker, her aunt, did everything so quickly. It made it a little bit more bearable. I still like the book, but I just feel like the ending was a little oh come on. But like you said, you kind of have to just send disbelief. Also, although I didn't see it coming, I also liked how they foreshadowed it a couple times without us knowing. Like when they said, and I think they bring it back at the end, like, what if it's a woman? And
Yeah.
yeah, so I did like the foreshadowing of it. Yeah, it was kind of rambly, but I agree with everything you said.
Okay. I'm gonna rapid fire you on these,
Okay.
but I'll also answer. Okay. It is clear that Cassie is confused about her feelings for Dean and Michael. Which team are you?
Team Dean, Team Dean, Team Dean.
Yes! Why?
I'm so happy you're Team Dean. I don't know. There's something about his dark and like broody ways that I'm just like,
Literally,
yes.
that I wrote. My first
No
line is,
way.
first off, I love a dark and brooding character.
My God, you did. I swear I did not read it. It's something about it. And I'm like Michael's too much. Like, leave her alone a little bit, in my opinion.
Yes. I also really enjoyed like Dean and Cassie's conversations more. Especially, I love like the one where they're at the pool and he shows her like the fake crime scene that
Oh,
was set up. And I also like them being like a little team of profilers. I enjoyed everything about them.
yes. Like for young teenage love, I was 100% for it. And I agree that was a cute, cute scene. I love it.
If you could have any of the characters' natural talents, who would it be and why?
I think just because I loved her so much, maybe Sloane. And like, it's just so cute with the facts. I can't. I don't know. And she's so smart. I would love it so much. What about
So
you?
you know this about me. I watched a lot of Criminal Minds and
Yes.
I loved that show. I actually like went into psychology as an undergrad because I thought you could actually be like a criminal profiler and then realized that that's not like real life. So I think I would definitely want Cassie's talent so I could be a profiler like I've always wanted to be.
I also could see you doing that, to be honest, like a little baddie, like, well, I think this, and then I'll just come in with coffee, like, squirting facts on them.
Yes. We'd be so good to, you'd be like Penelope Cruz
Yes,
in
yes.
Criminal Minds.
We're doing it.
So this book does a good job of exploring how people let their past define them. Whose past do you want to know more about?
This is a very good question. And I feel like I could go so many ways with this one. I want to say right off the bat, Dean. And if I'm being honest, I did look at like, the in the back of the book, read this for the second part. The second part is about Dean's family more. But I also would like to honestly know more about Leah or Lia's family as well. I feel like that her character wasn't as explored as the other ones. She was just like Dean's friend and felt like a certain way for Dean. So I think it'd be really, really cool to like get a backstory on her. What about you?
I want to know more about Judd, the guy who runs the
Yes,
house.
yes.
What was his life before this? How did he get into this? He's funny. I love when he's like, the only thing I'm natural at, I can't talk about till you're 21.
I want to change my answer to Judd because I think that would be how did he get in this position where he has all these kids in his house? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I need to know this so badly.
Yes.
I love it. Very, very good. Who you giving your Baddie award to, Lex?
My Baddie Award, this one was hard for me. I actually was between two people, so I'm going to give two Baddie Awards.
Yee.
My first Baddie Award goes to Cassie's mom, Lorelai. Lorelai? She
Sure.
left a very, very, very tough situation to make sure her baby was safe and made a lot of hard choices. And that takes a very strong person.
I agree. Definite Baddie. Love it.
And my second one is Cassie's grandma.
Girl, that would be someone I would want more of a background with, is the grandma.
Yes.
Yes, I was
Yes.
hoping she would come back around, to be honest. I really was throughout the whole book. Like, okay, when's her grandma
Yeah.
coming back? I thought she was so cool.
Yeah, I loved her grandma. I thought like she's awesome for taking care of Cassie while after her mom died and her dad's obviously moves around a lot to give her a stable place. She's one of those spicy grandmas who's like, I'm
Yes.
gonna kill your dad for letting you do this. And I don't think this is a good idea, but I love you and stay safe and you better be home for the holidays.
Yes, I really hope Grandma makes appearances in the other books because she is so cool. So my Betty Award actually goes to Mr. Judd, the guy who owns the house.
Woo! Yes, Jed.
Team Judd. He just lets the kids live there. He has the serial killers on his wall. He's like, "Oh, help me weed outside." I just freaking love it. I just want to know like more about his life. Like we said, I think he is an honorary baddie for sure.
Yes, Judd the Baddie. He's gonna be our book club mascot from now on.
Judd, just Judd standing in the corner with a book. I'll weed your house, Judd. I'll weed your house for you.
So, what are you rating this book?
I'm rating it kind of high, to be honest, because I really like the book. It was cute. Like I said, I like a good YA. I like a simple read. I like a crime related book. It kept me really intrigued. So I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5, baby. Ooh. What about you?
I am gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
Lame.
Again, this is super entertaining read, super quick, very fun, but the simplistic writing style, I had to knock it down a notch because of that.
I 1000% understand it. Just from a like YA, I don't only read YA. I feel like I'm like, woo woo YA, but from a person who does like YA, this is a kind of book that would help somebody who like a young adult who isn't into reading get into reading. Like, one of the first
Yes,
steps. So for me, that's I guess why I didn't mind the simplistic reading. But you are right. If that's not your thing, this wouldn't be the book for you. It is to the point.
I was coming off a hardcore fantasy book too, so that might have influenced it a little bit.
Because Lexi loves some fantasy.
I'm like, woo! This is so easy to read compared to all this world building.
Lexi wanted some fantasy things going on in this book a little bit.
I didn't want fantasy things, but the fantasy writing tends to be so complex
Oh,
because you're
100%.
world building. So to then just like be like, I'm a 17-year-old girl and I like this. It was a little bit of a shell shock for me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But yeah, altogether,
Uh,
great read.
yes, I definitely would recommend. Definitely would recommend. I also am going to talk about our book for this month of January.
I'm so excited about
So
it.
For those of you that don't know how our little book club works, it used to be so Sam and I started in a Facebook book club together. So I had a friend who started a book club on Facebook. I joined it and I made Sam join it so we could read together. And Sam and I didn't really go to like, they would have like Zoom meetings about it. We didn't really go to those. We would just read the book and talk about it. So then the book club disbanded, and Sam and I were not ready to disband. So for 1 year, we had our own book club, just the two of us. And
It was
then
elite and
this,
amazing.
it was great. So then, because we're elite and amazing, in the year of our Lord 2024, we decided to invite our brother's girlfriend, Pacey, shout out
Shout out
Pacey,
Pacey.
and long, complicated conversation, but basically a very close friend of the family,
Cousin.
Jamie.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Shout out Jamie.
Woo woo, Jamie, into our book club. So, how we do it is each of us gets a month to pick. So, we each pick 3 times a year because there's 12 months and four of us. And then we just use that for our Baddie book club since we're doing that. So, January is my year to pick. And
Woo.
my very, very first time that Sam and I invited these people in, I got January. So I was the first pick. And I picked the book Bunny. Sam, do you remember who Bunny was by? Let me look it up real fast.
We'll look it up real quick. Let me just tell you, baddies, I was embarrassed for her. This was the first book Jamie and Pacey had to read.
Okay, it's by Mona Awad, and it is a weird book. That's the point of the book. It's supposed to be weird and crazy. To moi, who loves weird books, who thrives off weird books, it was too much for me. For the rest of book club who does not like weird books, it
I
was
saw the literary value. I, no, but if I could take back the time I read it, I would.
Pacey and Jamie did not see the literary value.
Our brother was literally like, what the heck is Lex, my sister, making my girlfriend read?
So for this January, I almost did a throwback to a very weird book just to make everybody uncomfortable again, but I decided not to be hated by the masses. And I am very, very excited. You mentioned it earlier, Sam, House on the Cerulean Sea, which is one of my favorite books ever. So we are going
So
to read
good.
Under the Whispering Door, which is also by TJ Klune, who wrote House on the Cerulean Sea. Have you read the summary of it, Sam?
Yes,
I'm so excited for this book.
it's gonna be so amazing. I know it is. I know when I first read House on the Cerulean Sea, it was for another book club I'm in because I'm so cool. And I was like, this is not my genre. I don't think I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna read it. You know, it's my friends. And it, again, ended up being one of my favorite books. I think I told you to read it. Is that how that happened?
I don't remember. I,
Maybe.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I think I loved it so much. I'm like, oh my God, everyone has to read it. So it's a Grim Reaper under the Whispering Door.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's
Yeah.
coming back to me. And I just know he does a great job of character building, of telling a story, of getting those heartstrings. So I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
I'm very excited. I'm almost done with the current book I'm reading, and then I'm going to start it.
I'm probably gonna start it today or tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Yay. So, thank you for listening. We hope that you read along with us for Under the Whispering Door this month because it is going to be a good one. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. You can always get our book reviews and our book of the months on our Instagram posts.
You're reading my part.
Oh, I was reading your part.
It's okay. It's all right. I'll just finish off. If you want to suggest books too, we, love to hear from you all. So send us your book suggestions at our email, bloodsheddbaddies@gmail.com. Like, review, follow the podcast, tell a friend who's a reader, tell a friend who loves true crime, because we do it all, baddies. And as always, thanks to Cousin Vinny for the best music ever.
Woo woo. Tune in next week. We love you guys.
Sorry, we're freaking hyper when it's the book club one. We apologize for this one in advance, baddies. Love ya.
Have a great night
Or morning. Or afternoon.
or mid-evening.
Okay, bye, baddies.